Travels with Dottie here, and I have another comment video just because the one I just did, let me see, it was about a week ago, maybe 5 days ago. Let me be accurate. Y'all know how I feel about accuracy. It was 8 days ago, and it's gotten over 3,000 views. So, well, I thought I'd do another one and see if this holds up. I'm going to be pretty surprised if it does, but let's go. As usual, I'm going to start with the very newest comments. So if you commented this morning on the 4th of January, 2026 on a Sunday, you're probably going to get your comment right. There are two comments from Sunset Sheds of Arizona on my Quartzsite is Waking Up video that I released yesterday. And in that, I went to that little area on just west of Central, across from the post office, is an area where there's a lot of little eateries. And they're like trailer food, right? There's a coffee shop, there's a Philly cheesesteak, there's a regular kitchen, the Kanicki's Bitchin' Kitchen. I remembered that one. And there's a new Mexican place there. Well, Sunsheds of Arizona, that's their property. So they're leasing that out, I'm sure, to those vendors. So that's who this is talking here. They said, be sure to come out for Friday Night Bites. Vendors open all day with music from 4 to 7 on our enclosed stage. Thank you, Dottie. I'm not sure if they know Dottie's a dog, but that's okay. Can you see Dottie back there? I think you probably can. She's sleeping. Next time, the other comment from them was, next time try their sweet potato fries. They're yummy. Oh boy. This one, Master 139 says, thanks, now I need another cooking product on my short that I did real egg waffles. Well, here's the story on that. Got one of those little tiny waffle makers that you plug in. I'm okay. I don't dislike waffles, but I don't like them enough to go to effort. I don't even buy the frozen ones because I think it's too much effort. So I sort of in middle ground on waffles, and I got it at a Christmas party, and that's what I ended up with for the White Elephant Exchange. And I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? And I want to make waffles. And I thought, I wonder if I pour egg into it, it'll make an egg waffle. And it does. And there are plenty of people out there looking at their TV going, where have you been, dude? Of course, you can do a lot of things with that. I didn't know, but I figured it out, and I did a little video on it, and it's gotten a few thousand. It's a short, so it got a few thousand views. Let's see. Pete Diaz. Hey, Pete from the Key West, Florida. Pete, how are you? Nice behind-the-scene ride-along. Things are surely picking up. I like this one. The Rogue Chef says, I knew that was you. I was the guy on the bike as you were exiting from the big tent. At first, I thought you were some crazy dude talking to himself until it hit me. Great video. I remember you, man. I'm super careful when there's somebody on an e-bike. You were on the right-hand side, and I wanted to make sure you weren't going to try to cross where I was. And for some reason, I looked at you, and I thought about maybe you looked familiar or something. But I was, as you see, I was driving and talking at the same time. But I was specifically thinking about you as I was driving by. That's so funny. Jeffin TD says, I went to that Indian place by Loves you mentioned and was going to recommend you try it until you mentioned your dental work. Once you're healed, it's really good. So I'm going back. It's been 2 weeks tomorrow that I got my 2 implants drilled in, and I still have to manage it with like acetaminophen. This ache is really annoying. But I'm getting, I think that something temporary. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll find out tomorrow. And The gum's a little swollen still. They may say, well, come back in a week. We'll see. But that's okay. I have to go down there with my buddy Jim Bertrand from Canada. He's here, and we're gonna head down there together because he has an appointment at the same time. All right. Steve Warner says, all right, now almost 8 a.m. on Monday morning here. Just got my second cup of coffee, and presto, another ride along with Rob. Always welcome. So much fun to see all the drama there in Quartzsite, all the ins and outs and tips and tricks, the here and there, the lowdown, one might say. Very valuable info there, Rob. Thanks so much for sharing all that you do. Just great. Ooh, the big tent. Wow. Thanks again, New Hampshire. You know, in the video, I was doing using my iPhone to shoot in the car driving, because iPhone has this really great feature where you can use the front and back lens at the same time. So the big part is the road, and in the corner, in the right hand corner, is me, my big talking head. And in part of that video, they just put up the big tent. It's a phenomenal sight when you first see it. It's just enormous. And I'm on Central, and I come over the rise over the interstate where you can get a really good overview of the tent. And I'm like, look at that. There it is, the first glance of the season. And I get into editing, and you can't see the tent because my big fat head is in the way. So luckily, later in the video, I went around to the back and got a nice frontal view of the whole thing. So I redeemed myself. And I even put text up in the editing saying, I know I'm talking about something you can't see here, and I give the timestamp of when you can see it in case somebody gets really frustrated. NURDC RFT CHK. I'm going to interpret this, and I speak fluent YouTube, and that means nerdy craft chick. Did I get it right? Setting up as a vendor dealer for the first time this year in Cellorama and the Arts and Crafts Fair. That's I was talking about the video that Denny did on DDK Travels that I tagged at the end of the video. That's the Cellorama. We'll be setting up on the 13th. Very excited. Well, good for you. You didn't say what you're gonna be selling at Arts and Crafts. Comment again. I'll tell people about it, and say where your booth is, and I'll send people there. M92 Ventures, relatable. This is the Quartzsite waking up video still. Currently road tripping in the southeast in a loop, Miami, Atlanta, then NOLA, is that northern Louisiana? And yesterday I fell asleep at 6 p.m. At first I just thought there was some A/B testing going on for different video release times, but either way it makes the rest of it. It makes the rest, but either way makes, but rest is always number one. Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think they're commiserating with me because I fell asleep yesterday and was late to film something. Let's see. And another person commiserating with my falling asleep, saying, I think the short days make us more tired than usual. Just my opinion. Okay. Yeah, that's a good thought. Let's see. Oh, okay. Anthony says, so I was wondering, since you brought us this interesting story, that was titled RV Life Brought Them Together. This is their story. Two friends of mine that met each other and got married. Anthony says, so I was wondering, since you brought this interesting story to light, Bob said he was looking to meet someone in the desert. Has Rob ever wanted to meet someone in the desert? Were you ever interested in meeting a significant other while being a nomad? Not really. It's not my thing. It's not my thing. I'm not saying it is impossible to happen, but it's not something I'm actively looking for. So Deborah Renee Lewis, Deborah Renee. Sometimes it's all mashed together. It's hard to make it out. I'm a hardcore road tripper. I used to go to Colorado Springs for big city shopping, which is about a 4-hour drive. Whenever I get the least little bit drowsy, I pull over and take a quick snooze. Usually all I need is about 20 minutes. So I was on my way home and feeling a bit drowsy, so I stopped at one of the favorite rest stops to take a quick nap. Woke up and it was dark out and I've been out cold for 6 hours. Holy moly! Wow. That's a good story. Chuck Tro, so funny, Rob. I just watched the Heron Lake episode with the ladies fishing, you arriving at the new campground. I've really been enjoying the New Mexico State Park videos you shared a couple of years back now. Too bad they changed the rules and the fees. Definitely was a nice deal. Too bad they changed up the rules and the fees. Although I think being able to stay 3 months in one spot is much nicer at Eagle Nest. Rob, put a note on your recliner, no more daytime sitting on the chair. Well, sorry, that's not going to happen. Can you see over my shoulder there? I'm rocking the recliners right behind me, right there. It's a lazy boy. David Cassidy said, Rob, it was great to ride along with you again. Your videos helped me greatly when I was in Quartzsite last month. Maybe I can meet you in person next season. Keep the videos coming. And Ken commiserating too about falling asleep. He says, don't feel bad. About every 2 or 3 months, I sleep for 10 to 12 hours. It's just one of those things. Let's see. Zero Fish says, big parking lot for the Big Tent. I was there in February 2020. Drove down from Long Beach, Washington with a friend to buy for his store, trading off driving in the van. With the metal wall behind the seats, no reclining. Left at 5 a.m. and zoomed down to Blythe by 7 a.m. the next day. At 3 p.m. he wanted to go back up to Washington. No way, dude. Hotel. Funny, needing a Java walking around. Just happened to be standing people we knew with a restaurant in LB. I don't know what LB is. Small world. Thanks for your tour as always. By the way, I watched the document The Big Trouble in Little Quartzsite last night. Interesting story on the Cube. Police chief looks like a good guy. Gunny says DDK Travels has 2,400 views on the video you talked about. He's doing great. Yeah, he is doing great. I'm going to wake up next year and he's going to be a bigger channel than me for sure. All right, so I'm packing my van and heading to Quartzsite for my first time. I did Senator's Wash last year before I crossed the border for my Baja trip. Yes, Senator's Wash is down near Yuma. I plan on trying out La Posa South off the main street to the right. Hopefully there's a pit toilet nearby. Do you remember there was? And yeah, Dave, there is one. As you go down the main road, the first pit toilet on the right, you'll see like a community of people that that you can park with. You know, they're following the within 500 feet of a pit toilet if you don't have self-contained black tank. If you don't want to camp with them, you can keep going down the main road. There's another one on the left down there, way past the dump stations, where there's usually hardly anybody around. But I know firsthand they're really great people that hang out in the first place we're talking. Let's see. Vincent Forrest Gear Up Foundation. Happy Saturday. Was looking forward to my therapy session today. He means my videos. As always, appreciated. By the way, I ordered myself a first set of civilian suspenders. Fire department didn't count. Well, you know, it's funny you say that. I'm wearing my red outfit today, and there were when I was a firefighter, I had big red suspenders on my turnout gear, kind of like this. That's great. So I had a positive news story on a baby that was born premature at 22 weeks and weighed 1 pound. I thought that was an extraordinary story, but listen to what this viewer says. This is Melanie G284. I was born 62 years ago, 3 months premature at 1 pound 11 ounces, and I'm still going strong. That's amazing. If you think back 62 years and how far medical technology has come versus back then it was more than a miracle. Gunny799 says he's talking about the same video, miracle at 22 weeks. Let me explain myself. About 15 years ago, the person I called my dad had his first grandchild, a baby boy. He was born about the same way he can fit in the palm of your hand. 10 years later, my dad's friend passed away. The grandson is healthy and living a life no one expected him to. He's still in school and probably going to graduate soon. Next couple of comments are on, this saved me $350. It was a run on the last day of the year that I was making up to Parker, to the Walmart pharmacy, because I discovered by talking to them about something else, they said, you know, tomorrow your insurance is going to reset deductibles and everything, and you have an expensive medication here you have open. You can fill up to 90 days worth if you want to do that. And I'm like, I can? Really? Yes, you can. So it ended up saving me about $350. So that was the trip up to Parker. So Nancy says, I enjoyed listening to your videos every morning while I bathe and dress our mom, Rosie, who is 102, and just enjoyed her 103rd Christmas. A lot of good information. I find them interesting and peaceful. I talk about you to my friend as if you're my best friend, so I related the video about Matt's rescue where you said he was your friend, but you'd never met. We bought a new truck last year and hope to travel someday with a small trailer. Take care, Nancy. Yeah, that was Matt's off-road recovery. And Matt feels like a friend, and his family, his wife, his boys, the other employees, they all feel like a friend, but I've never met them. So I know what it's like to really see genuine people being themselves on camera for hours and hours entertaining me. And it's like, you feel like you know them. You really do. So when people say that to me, I get that. It's important. It's good stuff. It's real good stuff. So Melody Gerald says, I had a molar pulled and it was worse than the wisdom teeth. I had the bone graft. I had an implant. It all took about a year. If you ever have a molar pulled again, if I ever have a molar pulled again, I'll take more ibuprofen. I did not take enough pain reliever. The good news is the implants are the easy part. The bad part is that the tooth being pulled. So with me, right here, I had 2 adjacent teeth pulled, and then the titanium drilled into my jaw, owing a bone graft, which is like a cement truck driving into your mouth and laying a new driveway. And it's been 2 weeks and it still aches. Now I am taking this stuff. These are pills that I get in Mexico. Don't worry, they're over the counter. It's Keto Relaco, and they're pretty strong. Let's say 30 milligram NSAID and it goes under your tongue, so that's pretty quickly. They're not good for you to use long term. Ask me how I know, because before I had my hip surgery, I was in pain for a couple of years, and I was popping a lot of those. And when I got my blood test, when I turned 65, got my checkup, there were indications on the blood test that he said, you need to stop taking those things immediately. And I did. Now I'm taking them short term now because the pain is, it's without medication, it's very distracting. But rest assured, when I get back home in March, I have another doctor's appointment. I'll be doing blood tests again and everything to make sure I didn't do any damage with eating those like Skittles. All right, let's see. Okay. I'm laughing. Somebody on the egg waffle thing said, excellent video. Very funny. So interesting thinking about what gets you a lot of views. You know, I discuss this often, and I say how, you know, there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason. I'll think this video is going to do great, and it doesn't. And then I do a video that I'm think is mediocre, and it gets huge views. So this will be a good example, because I'm doing this one because, wow, I got 2,000 or 3,000 views on my last comment video. So let's try it again. It'll probably get 500 or 600, or who knows, or 10,000. There's no way to tell. I think people have different reasons they watch videos. Absolutely true statement number one. I watched the one with Wandering Gypsy. I enjoyed the shopping. I don't remember whether I watched it to the end. I don't always finish or even start the long ones. I watch the ones about your hip because that's something I'm going to need to know in the future. And the info about Medicare is a good tip. So here's what she's talking about. I do things intentionally that I know aren't going to be commercially successful at all. And one of those things was my hip surgery series. It's a playlist on my channel. So you'd have to go to my channel, look up the playlist, and it's 10 videos about my journey from the first doctor visit through my recovery from hip replacement surgery. And I do that because I was scared to do the surgery, and I was watching their videos out there of people that go through it. But to me, I needed more detail. Like someone would have hip surgery, the hip replacement surgery, and they do like one video, maybe two. I'm like, no, I want to put out a series so people see every step of the way what it's like through my eyes. And that's not, that's not going to generate a lot of views, but it's helped tremendously a very small number of people, and that just makes it totally worth it. Karen says, I thought Medicare doesn't cover GLP-1s. That's not true. It doesn't cover it for weight. They don't cover it for weight loss, but they do cover it for type 2 diabetes. So that's the difference. That's what you're hearing. Someone told you half the story. And you have to get it pre-approved. They make your doctor jump through some hoops, answer some questions. So the insurance company is convinced that there's a real solid medical reason other than weight loss for the medication. 3321 MDZ says, I make egg pancakes regularly, all protein, no carbs except for the syrup. It's getting to be a habit, and it's a lot easier to clean and manage than doing eggs in the pan on the stove. I'm a little spoiled. John Brown says, did they consider it a view if people don't watch till the end? Oh, yeah, of course. If they only counted until people watch into the end with my videos, I'd have like 8 views on videos. My long ones, for sure. This guy says, I almost picked up a 190-degree prescription on December 31st at Kroger. Then I realized it would go towards my 2025 deductible. That would have been a mistake. Now it will go towards my 2026. That's a good point. If you have a medication that you're going to pay the same for, regardless of whether it's the end of this year or beginning of next year, he's right. You're better off waiting until the new period, the deductible resets, and you start going to that deductible. If you've already met it for this year, it's kind of a waste. For me, it was free. There was nothing paid. So it made perfect sense for me, but that's a really good point. Now it goes towards my 2026 deductible. Now I'm shopping. I can get a GoodRx online and get a coupon at Kroger for $39. At Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs for $22. This comes through the mail. I think they have to have a physical address for this. I've been on Medicare for 5 years. Still have not figured it all out. It's complicated. Lots of twists and turns. Love Cheddar says I pay $2.99 a month for my GLP-1. Comes with a doctor, care guidance. They did blood work on me, and the blood work is great. Nothing wrong. I believe in supplements. I rarely get sick. Okay. Drug plans for Part D are different in all states. Also different disadvantage plans. Well, drug plans are different even within states. You have to shop each one of them. Some advantage plans usually come with a drug benefit too. But if you, like me, and you do a supplement Medicare plan, you have to do a separate Part D medication plan. And I have a choice of which one I can use. And there is a tool on the Medicare site that does the research for you. You enter your medication and dosages into the Medicare website, and your zip code, and it'll give you all the options, get this, all of the different Part D insurance company offerings and what the total cost will be to you for the year, meaning the cost of your medications plus the premium. And you can just scan, you can pick the cheapest one, right? Or something in the middle, but it's a really valuable tool that many people don't know about. And if you want to find it, you can just do Medicare plan shopping, something like that, and look for the .gov. Don't don't get misled by the search. And you know what? I'm going to find it, and I'm going to put it in. Now that I think about it, I'm going to put a link to it in the description here, only because with the Google search, the problem is companies masquerading as that and pointing towards their own plans. I don't know if that exists, but it could. So I'm going to give you the real deal in the description. So MKP 2375 says, in my opinion, I think people watch those comment videos to see if you're going to mention theirs. Like I'm mentioning yours? I watched Hit and Miss until you mentioned my comment about having a scowl on my face and being misunderstood. It was good to hear you mention it, and I'm glad you care about what your viewers think. FYI, gas and shallot, pronounced shallot, is in North Carolina. It's $2.37 today. Wow, yay. With Walmart plus 10 cents, plus discount 10 cents per gallon. Thank you, Rob. Tell Dottie and George that Echo and I said hi. Okay. Dottie, did you hear that? Did she move? No. All right. This is This person says, I don't even take aspirin, so this doesn't help. Natural living is the way to go. Okay, so this person is saying my video on I save money on Medicare was not useful for them because they don't take medications. And I don't even take aspirin. Natural living is the way to go. And I had to respond, and I said, you don't think aspirin is natural? It's pretty natural stuff. You can go to a plant and chew on it, and it's the same ingredients as aspirin. And that statement is from someone that is healthy right now, right? And they may change their mind if they get really sick, and the answer is a medication. At least I hope if that happens, I hope they get what they need for their health. One thing that people, I think, don't understand, really do not understand about medications is the side effects. They think every medication, the medications that have these side effects are, I'm looking something up here because I want to demonstrate something to you real time. I am going to read you some side effects from a medication. You try to guess what it is, what the medication is by let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to find the drug adverse reactions. Here we go. Anaphylaxis is number one. That's an allergic reaction where your airway swells up, you can't breathe. It could be angioedema, that's swelling of the tissues, bronchospasm, cutaneous reaction, severe, bleeding, GI perforation, GI ulcer, DIC, pancytopenia, thrombopenia, aplastic anemia, hypotoxicity, salicism, Rye syndrome. These are all serious, potentially life-threatening reactions that have been recorded and documented for aspirin. Yeah, aspirin. I'll tell you another little secret about when you're reading a list like this, the side effects. These side effects come from the studies that they do on the medications. And people that take these medications and these studies report things that happened to them, right? I got an upset stomach, I got lightheaded, I was nauseous. And they list virtually all of those things, regardless of the count of the number of patients that report that. So they make up for that by sorting it in the order of how many reported. So the first thing on the list is the thing that's reported the most frequently. And they're usually two separate, there's adverse reactions, which I didn't read. I just read the serious reactions. So they're two lists, but they both happen the same way. So no matter what medication that you're going to take, there's the intended effect and there's the side effect. And that's just how it is with medications. And I'm going to go off on a tangent here because I feel strongly about this. My opinion is that if you think that it's a really good idea to never use medications because it's just all a scam and it's going to hurt you and you just need to do supplements and eat better, you're ignoring something. You're ignoring some facts about medicine and science that are very important to recognize. I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm sure you know who he is. If you don't, do research, find him, and he's a fascinating character. He's the guy that really, in some ways, Carl Sagan passed him the mantle. So he's the new Carl Sagan for the past couple of decades, 3 decades. Very smart man and scientist, right? Well qualified. He said that, during sort of the caveman era, right? Ancient humans, the average life expectancy was 30. That makes sense, right? Here's the twist. When you move forward from BC times, centuries, to the mid 19th century or late 19th century, it had risen dramatically from 30 to 35. And he adds in there, he said, and all these people were eating organic. I thought that's very true and very funny. And he said, as you know, between the turn of that century, 1900, and 2025, our life expectancy is well into the 70s. So we've doubled our life expectancy since 1900. 125 years. Why? Why such a dramatic change? Science, medications, vaccines, things that have turned the medical world upside down and have created longer lives for everyone. So that's my pet peeve is, well, I'll go on. I usually don't go on about stuff like that, but I think it really, since I saw him give that talk, I was like, wow, that's absolutely fascinating. John Cron says, I'm really enjoying the back road bike rides showing parts of Quartzsite I've never seen before. Maybe there are people like me who don't really read the comments. I can't stand the trolls, so your comment, questions, and answers episode for me are informative and entertaining. So Lauren says, I've been real happy for 5 years now with the same path, Walmart Pharmacy and United Healthcare. That's what I do. Although I can get my diabetic pen needles through Amazon Pharmacy. Roger says, Dottie, have your human, meaning me, check out Community Health Pharmacy in your state. I have a med they want $700 a month for. We went with without due to the cost. So he didn't take the medication, just it was too expensive. I've been getting it through the Community Health Pharmacy in our state for $20 a month without insurance, shipped to my house included. That's a good tip. So Community Health Pharmacy, search for that with your state name and see if he didn't say what state, but it won't matter for most of us unless you live in his state, and look into that. I didn't know about that, and do it. Ken says, so basically you got yourself a $350 Christmas gift. Yeah, what gadget should I buy? I've been buying so much stuff. I have my new DC refrigerator that was $1,300 with tax and delivery being delivered this week. Yeah, I've spent that money. I hear there was very strong wind in the desert. I'm curious how you experience the wind in the desert versus in the campground. So far, much less here in the campground, in the RV park, really. Brian, some kind of rattle on that bike makes it difficult to watch. I said, easy solution, don't watch. It's the sound my bike makes. There's nothing wrong. It just different bikes make different sounds, especially if you're going over like gravel and stuff, which I do a lot here. Yeah, telling me it's difficult to watch because there's a little sound in the background, and I watch my videos. I know the sound, and I know it's very soft in the background, and my voice is pretty loud. So if you have something in a video that, for some reason you can't get your mind off that thing, then that's a video you probably should sign off and go on to the next one. Let's see. Beyond the Barber says, "What's that clicking sound? It reminds me of the sound wind-up teeth make." Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here, let's just play that. So if you don't, it is. Let's just play it. Okay. Let's find that biking video, and let's see how bad this is. Okay.
Okay.
Like download speeds, but that's okay. I don't need it to be that fast. So let me just say here in Quartzsite, if you would like my old Starlink setup, I will give it to you. First taker that says I want it. I can barely hear something in the background. It off my account so you can. That'd be a neat place to camp, though, if you could. I see somebody camping up here, but that could be a private lot or something. We'll find out when. Yeah, maybe there's lots of things attached to the bike, and maybe it's something. I'm wondering if what we're seeing isn't. I would be curious to know the age of the two people that mentioned it. Why? It's actually a good thought. If they're younger, I have a theory. As you lose hearing at certain frequencies over time as you age. In fact, there's a hearing test that can determine your age within a few years. About it plays sounds at frequencies, it steps up, and when you stop hearing the sound, then they tell you how old you are. So that very well could be happening. I kind of lost my place here. Yeah, I should have opened a new window to do that. I'm getting close though. The clicking sound. Okay. All right. Anything else here? M92 Venture says, "Happy New Year. Another great bike ride. Nice set of investments. Very thorough." I'm talking about the investments I've made in my solar, and like getting rid of the propane and electric fridge and putting in a DC fridge. He says, "The only other thing I can think of is a 12-volt AC, but then again, he's said having the generator prepped, you are covered by those 900 amps, and they're another layer of redundancy in addition to Eagle Nest being up there." So I've actually been approached by two different companies to review their rooftop DC AC units, and I haven't been willing to do that. The only way to really review it is to take this thing out, get rid of it, and put theirs in. And what if theirs doesn't work long term? I don't have anywhere here to store that, to switch it back. And can you imagine having to do it and switch it back? Because none of these companies are going to pay for the installation, right? They're going to want me to do it or pay someone to help me do it. They're new, and they're unproven. So I stay away from that. The setup I'm going to have in Eagle Nest is the generator will be ready to go, hooked up, and I have a remote for it. So I'll be able to sit here with my thumb, click, the generator will start, charge the batteries, run the AC, do all this stuff. And then when I'm done with the AC, turn it off and I'm back on battery. Easy peasy. It's a 5,000 watt generator, Harbor Freight, Predator generator dual fuel, meaning it'll run on propane or it'll run on gas. And I've never put a drop of gas in there. I've always used propane. Oh, this one, Quartzsite to Blythe plus Dottie and George adoption stories. The Atomic Cat said, you know, when you miss an exit, that's the universe telling you something. You were meant not to be in that exact location for a reason. Be grateful and thankful for the universe when it guides us. I like your videos covering real estate while you're in your wheel estate. Safe travels. So that was a trip to Blythe to show people how to, hey, if you want to go to Blythe, to go to Albertsons like I did, this is how you go. And I missed the exit, so I had to exit later and work my way back through town. And there were a couple places I was saying that I weren't sure where they were, and it turns out I passed them as in the detour. So it was fortuitous, for sure. Very fortuitous. And also, a couple of people had asked me, can't you tell us the story about adopting George and Dottie? So I told that story, and I had pictures, pre-adoption, post-adoption pictures of both Dottie and George. And that video is called Quartzsite Blythe plus Dottie and George adoption stories. And let's see. Wow, we're up to over 45 minutes. But let's see how far I can go before people go, this is too long, too long. So I was on this video, what every RVer needs to see Quartzsite like this. It was an e-bike thing with a whatever that sound is in the background. I was going by an area people are camped that I knew was state land, and I didn't know the rules. Well, Ken, of course, figured it out. It's you pay a fee, and you can only stay like 14 days in a whole year. That's it. So you can, if you're going to bounce between there and BLM land, the 14-day thing, you only get to do that once on state land, technically. Coco says, are there a lot of 4x4 off-road camper van owners that go to the Quartzsite RV show? Oh, heck yes. They're everywhere. They're everywhere now. Okay, I got one telling me that I need to stay on top of battery quality builds, especially for the cheap China-based LFP batteries. So he gave me a link to a video so I could educate myself. The recommendation is to put a fuse to the positive lead of the batteries. All right, so after I spent all this money, he wants to give me this advice. So first, stay away from Chinese. And as I assume he wanted me to see how these Chinese batteries could be dangerous. He sent me to a video by Will Prowse, who is recognized widely by myself and thousands of other people as an absolute authority on these batteries on YouTube. He's a credible source. So I look at the video he's talking about, and it's on a problem with battle-born batteries, and they're made in Nevada. They're not Chinese. There's nothing Chinese about them. All right. My battery is Chinese made. Losagy, I believe. Let's make sure. Losagy batteries. Where made? Question mark. Shenzhen. They're Chinese, right? So here's my answer to him. I said, I'm very confused. He sent me a video where Will Prowse is criticizing battle-born batteries, and then he cautioned me on China-made batteries. Those are made in Nevada. This is a summary of his, meaning Will Prowse's findings on my particular battery. He really loves my battery. I didn't buy my battery without doing research, right? I didn't spend, a couple $1,000s on batteries and 900. Actually, I gave away 400. So I bought 1,300 amp hours of battery in the past couple of years, and they've all been Losagy. Now, I did my research, and Will Prouse did a teardown of my brand batteries, and he was very impressed, very positive. The only criticism he had was they don't have built into the battery low temperature protection, which prevents you when it's freezing or below from trying to charge the battery. Right? That's not a concern for me because my batteries are inside, and I'm living in here, so whatever the temperature is in the trailer is that's what the batteries are. So I don't need to worry about that. But he didn't. And he also said this is the other thing that just was pretty wild. I'm a bit concerned now that the batteries are inside the trailer. He's a bit concerned, but these batteries are designed to be inside boats, inside off-grid homes. They're designed to be inside. They're safe. A lot of people are like, well, what about all these lithium fires? That is a different chemistry than these LPO4 batteries are a different chemistry, and they don't have that runaway heat thing where the batteries burst into flames. It just doesn't happen. So the person that did this post, they are the ones that need to do research, and it's really important. It's important to point out that you need to research what you're doing, because if there are batteries that are dangerous, Will's was in that video was pointing out that it looks like there's a potential danger with these current design of the battle-born batteries, and the jury's still totally out on that. But that's caused people to measure the temperatures of their existing batteries and be vigilant. All these things are important to be aware of, and it's really important to do your research, independent research, thoroughly before you make a decision on putting these electrical systems into a trailer or an RV that wasn't specifically designed for it. Right? Mine had, one solar panel on the roof, 100 watts, and a cheap controller, and that was going to one 12-volt lead acid battery in the front. That was it. That's all there was. No inverter or anything. But what I have now is a huge system, and it learned from my mistakes. Okay, so I built my system slowly over time through friends helping me, because I didn't know what I was doing. And what I ended up with piecemeal, because there was no one friend that was responsible for the whole system, right? They did their little part. Well, when you look at all those parts cobbled together, there were some dangerous things. There were some places where I should have had fuses and cutoff switches. They weren't there. When I decided to do this deal with Denny, DDK Travels, by the way, I have absolute faith in his ability to do the whole system. So I found a way to compensate him for doing this amazing work for me. And now I feel very safe that it's done absolutely properly. So good. It's a good warning. It's a good warning. So, Love Cheddar says, I love all your e-bike rides. I'm going to get an e-bike because of you. An attachment sidecar for my dog Fenway so he can go with me. Well, I don't know how big Fenway is. It's a little dog. You can get a basket in front, right? If it's a big dog like Dottie, well, Dottie's not big, but Dottie's like 26 pounds, 27 pounds. I have a trailer. I haven't used it this year yet. It's sitting out there, but she likes it okay. I put her in the trailer and I tow her. It's not her favorite thing to do, so it usually takes a little convincing to get her in the trailer. Question, maybe I misunderstood state trust land use. It's $20 for the permit. You can only use state land for a total of 2 weeks per year. And I said, I didn't say that in the video because I was saying I didn't know. I think what he's thinking is someone in the comments said that. And I think that's true. Whatever the amount is, it's for 2 weeks for 1 year. Let's see. All right, Gotti Wampole says, Happy New Year. The dog park is great. It's split into 3 areas by dog weight, 20 pounds and under, 21 to 50, and the third is 51 plus. Each area has water supply to it from a spigot, place to sit under an awning. Each has a pooper scooper and a rake. Not sure it has any baggies, but with trash cans in each as well, you don't really need it. Sometimes they have kiddie pools to put water in to allow the dogs to play in them. I think the people that go there buy them when damaged if they feel like it. Sometimes awesome way to meet other dog owners and get your dog some time to run off some steam with other dogs. And thank you for that information on the dog park. We'll do a dog park video. Boomer says, Rob, Happy New Year. Where did you get your truck soft camper top? And I get that question quite a bit. I get it in person, and it's become how people recognize me in town because of that soft topper, right? It makes there are not many of them around. The only other one around is a friend of mine that usually stays in La Posa South, and he's had his for 8 years now, and it looks exactly the same as mine. Hasn't worn. Mine I bought last year for about $1,000, and it's from Soft Topper with only one T, so it combines soft and topper into one word. So softopper.com. That's where I got it. I have a request. At the Big Tent Show, they usually have an electric e-bike booth. Would you please interview them and get information on the different models? Please and thank you. So instead of that, I responded with the link to that company so they can see all those details. I know what he's talking about. They have outside the tent, they have a big area where you can test drive their bikes. I don't have a huge interest in interviewing them. I love their company. Trust me. This is my second one from this company, and the first one didn't break or anything. It was just got to be too heavy for me, so I gave it away, and I bought a lighter weight one. They're very busy and usually don't have time for interviews. I've made the attempt a couple of times, and they're like younger people that aren't very high in the company and they don't feel comfortable. But if you want your question answered, it's there. It's electricbikes.com, and it's not electric, it's electric starting with an L, and you can see all their current offerings. They always have one model on special at the Big Tent Show. And every year that I've been here, they've sold out of whatever they're selling. Let's see. How about one more? Thanks, Rob. I enjoyed going along on your ride. I didn't get as and I didn't have to get as cold, and I didn't have to get as cold as you did. Hope you Sue warmed up back at home. Happy New Year. Here's a little thing for your list of things to possibly feature in future videos. I hear there may be a new car wash in queue for tall vehicles. I've shown it a couple of times. It's not ready yet. It's still under construction. If you come across such car washes on an excursion, it would be interesting to see what they're all about. So I've already done that. It's over by the Starbucks. It's very close to the Starbucks behind Travels, and they're still working on it. I don't know when it's going to be open. So that's going to be it. We did a whole hour. Let's see. Let's see if I get over 100 views. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.